When I was 20 years of age, I felt something I saw online creators were talking about. Basically, they were saying quit your day job, stop working from 9 to 5, start your own business to become financially free. Back then, I was just an intern at one of the biggest companies in the world. And I was really getting well along with the people at work. The management team even offered me to stay longer, write my bachelor's thesis there, with the outlook to land a job right away with a 6-digit salary. I was young, I was influenced by all the talk online. And the scary thing about being influenced is that you don't even recognize that you're influenced by something. And my thought process changed then completely. I started acting differently. I acted like I don't even care that I work there. Just played around like I don't need them to navigate through my life. Suddenly I found myself without a job, back at uni, no funds, and having to start all over from scratch again. That was probably one of my lowest points in life, but also one of my biggest lessons. That's why in this video I will talk about 5 factors that you need to consider before you really quit your job. Let's start with the first thing, which is don't quit your job because you force yourself to, quit because you can. Many people think that the only way to become successful is to bet everything on one card. There are dozens of videos like this.
I am effectively quitting my job.
I quit my job with literally no plan.
Today I wanted to talk about quitting your job.
This puts pressure on you, even though you may not be in a bad position in your life. First of all, you need to realize that working from 9 to 5 is actually luxurious, especially if you can afford to pay your bills. According to a late survey in 2024, 42% of the people who answered said that they need multiple jobs to be able to cover their bills. And 61% of respondents think that having only one job that's able to cover all bills is actually a mystery from the past. So if you find yourself in a situation where you only have to work one job that pays for your bills, that enables you to chill and wind down in your free time, so instead of forcing yourself to quit, just quit if you can afford it. This brings us to the next factor to consider. Have enough money to risk it and still be financially stable. The moment I got laid off from my past job, I realized that I wasn't owning my lifestyle, I was just renting it. So whilst I was working, I could afford nice vacations, eating outside, wearing designer clothes. But just 2 months after I got laid off, my finances fell apart. I could barely afford rent. Luckily, I could land a new job really fast and recover. But that was luck. You shouldn't just hope for the best. I learned to secure my financial life first. That's why to this day, I still work from 9 to 5 for someone else's business. But on top of that, I own 6 companies on the side. And those 6 side hustles actually make more than my main income. I could easily quit now and focus on my businesses to just grow them. But I don't do that because I have another plan that I focus on my life that I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes. So currently I'm in a situation in my life where I invest my money because I want to become financially free at some point. And this point I calculated early on. If you want to know how I calculated that exact point of financial freedom, watch this video over here. And before I don't achieve that goal in terms of finances, I will never quit my main job. Simply because I would put my life at risk at the moment when it's not necessary. I'm working for a big company that will probably never go bankrupt. So I know that many of you would maybe take another approach to it, but from my point of view, I don't like to take risks when it's not necessary. Because that way I don't stress out, I don't feel the pressure when I'm working on my side hustles that I need to make a paycheck for a living. So basically what I'm trying to do here is separating my income streams to different buckets. I just can't imagine putting everything on one card that needs to work, and if it doesn't work then your whole life falls apart. I don't think that this is a smart choice. And not only your financial life will fall apart if you fail your business, probably the whole network around it, your personal network, will fail then too. This brings us to the next factor to consider. Be ready for change. Changing something is usually not a bad thing. But if you start without having a plan, it can get too complicated. So why complicate it if you can make it easy? Think of it, for example, you're working as a consultant and then decide to quit your job to start a cafe. Actually, I know a lot of people who have majored but don't want to work in that field anymore and then start simple businesses like cafes or something like that. You can become quite successful with it if you know how to set it up and which steps to take before you actually quit your job. This is really important. So instead of quitting and then thinking about starting a cafe, do everything beforehand. So before you quit your day job, my recommendation is to start networking in the field you want to start a business in. I think you get the idea. But most simply said, if you decide to quit your day job on a Friday, you should be able to serve your first customers on a Monday in your own business. And that's where many people fail. They quit without having a plan. Because by the time they work out what they really want to do, they run out of funds. And that's why currently in my life, I'm squeezing out all the advantages which a 9-to-5 job gives me. But in order to take all the advantages which a 9-to-5 job gives us, we are coming to the next factor. You have to be ready to do it. You have to put in the work. And by that I don't mean just sitting around like you're used to from your normal 9-to-5. A recent study showed that most successful business owners work 50+ hours a week. That's more than a full working day compared to someone who's working just 9-to-5. And not only do you have to work more, you have to be more productive. And that's not a joke. If you don't produce any results, then you will make any progress. Many people think when talking about productivity, it's about optimizing a schedule and so on. But that's far from true, because being productive actually means producing a measurable output. And that's the only thing you should strive for as a beginner. Produce an output. And optimizing the way you approach the output is a total different ballgame, but that comes later. There are actually different techniques how to optimize your output and so on, but this is a complete different topic on its own. Write down techniques if you want to know how to optimize it. That way I know what you guys are interested in and I understand what to cover in my next videos. The last factor I want to share with you that you absolutely need to know before you quit your job is to assess your true talents. A recent analysis shows that 71% of people who answered aren't able to accurately judge their abilities one way or another. And yet for me it's also hard most of the times to be truly accurate with my talents. For example, I don't really like to talk to people as I'm more an introverted guy. But on the other hand, I know that I can be very empathetic and understanding, which helps me a lot in stakeholder management. That way I can connect with other people quite easy, which is an absolute bonus in project management. So there I actually misjudge my abilities. I think I can do less than I actually can. And maybe on the other hand, I think I'm very talented in sports, although I don't work out for 4 to 5 years at the moment. And in this field I probably think that I can do much more than I actually can. This kind of honesty is important for yourself, especially if you want to quit your job and start your new business. Not everyone can become a business owner, and not everyone can secure their life by judging the activities without anyone else telling them. And this is, from my point of view, one of the hardest things to admit to oneself. Actually, I want to tell you a short story about my friend Khalil. He was recently promoted to a project manager role. He was a developer for almost 10 years. He worked as a software engineer at the company. Don't get me wrong, he was an extraordinary engineer, writing one line of code after another, but he was a bad project manager. And I knew from talks to him from the past that one of his biggest dreams was to become that project manager. He wanted to level up in the organization he started off as an intern. Just 2 months in after he got his promotion, we were at lunch and he admitted to me that the project manager role was not like he imagined. He admitted to himself and told me in the same time that he wasn't able to meet the standards. He said that this new role took too much time of his life and he couldn't sleep very well for the past 2 months. So he decided to take a step back and asked me if I was okay with it. Of course I said yes, because I could exactly see what Khalil was talking about. I was just thinking maybe he needs more time or something like that, but he just clearly said, really boldly, he lacked the talent to be a good project manager, but he can still be a good software engineer. And I have to tell you, and Khalil, if you're watching this was one of the biggest moments I've ever experienced in my life. You didn't care about other people judging you. You didn't care what I was thinking. That was just one of the bravest decisions I saw someone make. And for those people who wondered what happened to Khalil, after he stepped down as a project manager, he worked as a software engineer for 1 more year and then got promoted as a team lead for those software engineers. He is now leading a team of 10 people. Sometimes you just need to take a step back to tackle even stronger. What do you think of the factors I shared with you? Do you think that they will help you in assessing if it's time to quit your job? Share everything with me in the comment section down below. I'm reading through every single comment. As always, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, see you on the next one. Bye!